Classic. We're going to bring in a guy who was pretty good at the shootout. 5-8 in his career. Brian Boucher joining us on the phone.
It's not that great.
He was great in 2010 in game number 82 against the New York Rangers. There you go, Bouche. I helped you out there. Bouche, tell us about this shootout. What do you think of Robin Lehner's comments, and do you agree?
Well, the one thing I will say is, look, if you're not good at something, you don't really want to do it, right? And I think I disagree with him. I do think it's mental. I think it's a situation that's in his head right now where he knows going into it that he's probably not going to come out on the other side successful. So he's already kind of defeating himself before it even starts. And you can just see it in his body language. In particular, the last game against Dallas was the one that I saw. From a technical standpoint, I mean, it's not like he ends up in the back, inside the net because he moves back too fast or he's staying out too high and guys are deking him. I mean, these guys are just beating him with shots as they were coming in. And to me, it just looks like a guy that is lacking confidence and probably is talking his way into a corner where he knows he's not going to do well. So I think it's mental. I think he's a great goaltender. I think he's got tremendous size. I think in a normal game situation, when there's a guy coming in with speed and somebody on him, he's able to use that size to his advantage. But for whatever reason in the shootout, there's a mental block there.
Bouche, how hard was it to get over a shootout loss? Let's say you played a good game like Robin Lehner's talking about. It's a 1-1 game. You've been outstanding, but you lose in the shootout. Was that something you had to adjust to? How'd you deal with it?
To be honest with you, Jonesy, I looked at it this way. During the game, if I had a 96% save percentage in regulation and overtime and I lost in the shootout, truthfully, I didn't beat myself up too much. I was happy with the way I played. I can look at it, with a clear set of lens and say, look, I played a pretty good game in regulation. I thought I made some good saves. My stats indicate that. I mean, if we tied 2-2 in regulation and overtime and we weren't able to win, I don't think that's necessarily all on the goaltender. Would you like to win in the shootout? Sure, but I'm not going to sit here and lose sleep over it. There's things that you can work on to get that extra point. But I think now, especially 3-on-3, there's so many games that don't even get to the shootout anymore. I don't know that you need to beat yourself up over it. You can look at the video, work on it in practice, but don't lose sleep over it. Be more concerned about what's going on in the 65 minutes prior to the shootout that gets to that point. And look, if the media is beating them up over shootouts, I mean, I think they maybe he's trying to be proactive in that and send a message like, look, I'm hard on myself, so don't be hard on me and lay off me. But if a guy makes 98% of the saves in 65 minutes of play, I'm not going to beat him up because, he can't win in a shootout.
Hey, Bouche, first of all, your headshot's not screaming 5-8. It says 8-5 to me. You look really confident right there in your headshot, so I have to give you that heads up.
He looks like he's 12 in his headshot.
Right? But I wanted to ask you, this fear that he has of the shootout, it reminds me of basketball players with the lack of confidence with taking free throws. I know a lot of my basketball friends would take more shots, try to work themselves out of that groove. Do you think he should take more penalty shots, possibly end of practice, try to get himself out of that rut?
Oh, I would for sure work at it. But like I said earlier, I mean, there's still 65 minutes of play to worry about and a 3-on-3 overtime where I think the statistics show now that games tend to end more in the 3-on-3 than they did in the 4-on-4. You'd be foolish not to work on it, right? I mean, and by working on it, I would look at video. I would watch video of guys that are really good at the shootout, maybe a guy like Lundqvist or Fleury. I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know just off the top of my head that I feel like Henrik Lundqvist in my time was one of the best shootout goalies there was. And watch when they were successful, what they were doing. Watch the speed that they go back into the net. See how far they come out. Try to mimic their patience that they have. But in saying that, I mean, if you go in there with the wrong mindset, the minute that guy picks up the puck at center ice, I think you're already halfway to defeating yourself before that guy even gets to the crease to shoot that puck. You probably already talked yourself into that you're not going to win the shootout, and therefore the results are going to play out that way. So that's why I feel like it's mental. But yeah, he should be working on it, whether it's looking at video or doing extra after practice. But I wouldn't spend 3 hours on it because there's so much more hockey to play besides the shootout.
Brian, we've had some mystery Hall of Famers call in this segment in the past. Are you really Brian Boucher?
Listen, it's funny you mentioned that because I've really thoroughly enjoyed those phone calls you've gotten from Patrick Waugh and Dominic Ashley. Keep those guys coming. I mean, those that really add to the podcast.
I don't think it's Brian Boucher. This
isn't really him.
Does not sound like Brian Boucher.
Bouch, quickly before you go, I mean, you have to wonder, like, would you pull Lehner out of the shootout and put somebody else in if he's that much, concerned about it and doesn't have the numbers for it?
Yeah, put Brent Seabrook in there and see how it works. Or maybe see if they can win if they don't put a goal in there. No, I don't. Listen, I don't think it's fair to Corey Crawford to go in there cold like that. You probably could get hurt. You'll probably get embarrassed. I know that it happened to me once in a preseason game where Michael Layton got hurt during the overtime and said he couldn't do the shootout. And I was hiding so far underneath the bench, I didn't want to go in there. So, and it worked out for me. I had 2 hit posts and a missed net. I never touched the puck once. I ended up winning the shootout in a preseason game. But I can tell you that it's not going to work out that way for most goaltenders when you come in cold turkey like that. So, no, I think he's got to work at it. I think mentally he's got to find a way to get in a better place and not talk himself into a loss. And once he gets one win and makes a couple of saves, I'm sure the confidence will roll in the other direction.
Didn't Bob Hartley do that one, Spoosh, where he changed goaltenders for the shootout? And I believe he lost, and then he was fired shortly after that, if I'm not mistaken. I think I believe that Hedberg, came in net and replaced
and he got canned right after that.
And lost, and then Hartley was gone. So I don't recommend it for the coaches.
I think Hedberg was good at it. Maybe that's why he did it. I think it was,
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
I could tell you, I would be livid if he threw me in there.
Start stretching.
Yeah, exactly. And you get the loss too. Thanks a lot.
Yeah,
pal.
no thanks. Well, Bouch, you got a big shootout win. We remember 2010 against the New York Rangers, against none other than Henrik Lundqvist, to lead the Flyers into the playoffs and ultimately the Stanley Cup final. So we're gonna leave it at that. You're welcome.
Bouch, don't get too comfortable. We're calling you into the show tonight. So I know you're at home right now. Last minute,
phone a friend on the show tonight.
Pre-game.
No, the phone will be on airplane mode. Sorry, guys. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Enjoy your vacation,
All right, Bouch,
buddy.
happy Thanksgiving too.
You bet, buddy. Yeah.